Welcome back to the week, which means welcome to the weather. I mean, the weather's always happening and everything. So Brandon Aidlet, our good friend from the National Weather Service, is here. And Brandon, I got a surprise topic for you before we get into this week's forecast. I was thinking about this over the weekend because absolutely stellar conditions. I say this all the time, we've got the most beautiful sunrises and sunsets, bar none, like on the planet, right? But
Absolutely.
and of course, social media is so big on Guam, and so many people love to take like sunrise pictures and sunset pictures. I'm seeing a lot more people do like time lapse where they actually want to see the sun
Mhm.
come up or go down. So my question to you is when it comes to the science of how sunrises and sunsets work, you guys always put out, these wonderful estimates of exactly when that's going to be. So let's just say like this morning, it said the sun will rise at 6:48 a.m. How much time before and after should I plan to actually try and capture a video of the sunrise coming up? And how long does it actually take for the sun to clear the horizon?
It's actually dependent on where you are. So you think about the width of the time zones, and so if you're on the eastern side of the time zone versus the western side of the time zone, there could be a few minutes difference in the time of the sunrise based on your location. But out here in the tropics and low latitudes, the sunrise sunset occurs pretty quickly, and so it ultimately falls back to just what are you trying to get in those time lapses? Do you want to see the sun rising above the horizon or dropping below? Or are you looking for that really brilliant flare of colors as the sunlight kind of pops through the atmosphere? And a lot of times the best colors happen while the sun is just below the horizon. So right after sunset or just before sunrise.
And so you said so for the sun to actually come up and make its glory known to all of us, that process is pretty quick. But I know that the time when the colors get absolutely stellar, you got oranges, pinks, purples, everything here. That part can be like a little bit, 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, it can be quite nice, and you see the color blast just kind of um, while you're looking at it in person, you don't see how it's just spreading across the sky. But if you're taking a time lapse and you can shorten that 20-minute period into 30 seconds, you can see where those colors will go from one part of the sky to the other part of the sky. And basically, what you really need is a little bit of cloud cover, mid-level clouds, preferably in the 13 to 15, 16,000 foot range. But then a lot of the cirrus clouds, those ice particulates that are usually above 30 to 45,000 feet, those can make some very nice clouds, very good colors, the purples, oranges, and reds. What usually messes up the color show is when you have a lot of low level clouds, like cumulus or even storms along the horizon that just blocks the sunlight. But we get what we call towering cumulus, and it can be like a small, let's say, this is a cloud on the horizon. And so the sun is shining past the cloud, and you get a little shadow that goes across the sky. And so we have the crepuscular rays as sun shines through the clouds, and then the anti-crepuscular rays, which are those shadows that stretch across the sky.
I am all into that. Okay, so that's the science, right? That's what like Mother Nature does and how she does it, right? Oh, now for the people that are just trying to get a really really good image so they can get like 10,000 likes on Instagram, right? If you guys put out the data, and we highly encourage everybody follow the NWS on all their social media platforms. If you guys say the sun will rise at say 6:35 a.m., what time should I start shooting so I can really capture that really really cool color and moment of sun peeking out?
I would suggest getting out there about 45 minutes prior, depending on if you
Wow.
want to start a time lapse with it really dark. And then as you start getting the first little glimpses of light on the horizon, and then you start seeing those colors kind of fill in. This time of year, though, right now the pattern is not the best for the really brilliant colors, since we don't have a whole lot of upper level cloud cover that will just shine that pink and purplish hues. But still, the glows with the low level clouds can be quite impressive, anyways.
There you go. And again, it's so hard to take a bad picture on Guam because we are very, very blessed and everything. But we're also blessed to have
Exactly.
you, Brandon. So I know your big thing too is also figuring out what the weather will have for this week coming up. So what do you got?
That's right. Well, let me share the screen real quick, and I want to show you just where the moisture is, and so hopefully you can see that. This is I'll scroll up just a little bit, and so this is satellite imagery polar orbiting satellite data that is stitched together over a 24-hour period, and it's showing the atmospheric moisture. So down in the lower latitudes, so here's 10 degrees north. I don't know if you'll see my mouse, but you'll see the 10 degrees north on the far left side.
Got it.
Micronesia is pretty humid right now. There's a nice little wave of moisture passing westward to the south of Guam. It is reaching into the Yap and Palau areas and giving them some much needed rainfall, especially as we've been watching drought conditions kind of mount across the Micronesia region. Up across the Marianas, we're kind of within that bluish green, and that is much drier conditions. Looking at some of the regional observations, our dew points are still in the low 70s. So that is really why it feels so much cooler, drier, less oppressive as you go about outdoor activities. So it takes a little bit harder to break that sweat if you're out there running. But otherwise, it feels a lot more temperate outside.
It's
And so
weird
that is
weather
courtesy.
lately, man. Well, like
Yeah,
it's been nice and balmy and hot, and yet super gusty with like cold breezes. If that makes
yeah.
any sense,
And
and it shouldn't, but that's what we're going through.
tis the season. It's the dry season. It's the windy season, and our weather patterns for the past several weeks have been really dominated by the northeast trade winds, and that's really going to continue for much the next couple of weeks. We might see a small drop in the winds tomorrow into Wednesday, but we start seeing these frontal systems pushing off of Japan. That's going to bring another cold front well to the north of us. And then those shear lines will drop down toward the Marianas and bring us another blast of winds, larger seas. And so, speaking of seas, we do have some high surf advisories, small craft advisories out across the Marianas. And then some north swell will be moving into the area by tomorrow night, Tuesday night, into Wednesday, bumping seas and surf up on the north side of the islands.
All right. So again, if you are into photography, videography, and everything, the waves are expected to be a little bit rough. Take pictures of the waves, make videos of the waves. You want to stay out of the waves, though.
That's right. And keep in mind, you can look at the waves right on the shore crashing up on the edge of the reef, and they're going to show a certain appearance for a little while, but every so often, a larger set of waves will come through and may push that water a little bit higher up on shore. It's dangerous to stand on the rocks right on the edge of the breaking waves. So definitely be smart about where you position yourself to watch the seas and the surf. Um, but in addition to the season surf, we do have a fire weather concerns. Red flag warning is still out through this afternoon for the stronger winds. We have a very high fire danger rating, and that is a combination of both ongoing dry conditions and stronger winds that any outdoor burning could very easily quickly spread. The concern is being wildfires that form and are very difficult to combat and put down. So keep in mind the safety for any outdoor fires should not be happening right now. And you can call your local GFD department just to touch base with them if you have any concerns.
All right. So the Firehouse is, like the place where you can get all the information. Speaking of, Firehouse is also an amazing band from the '80s, which is from your neck of the woods. They're from Carolina.
Well, you got that, and then you also have the Firehouse subs. I've never been to one, but I know of the
There you go.
Firehouse.
Okay, before I let you go, since you were talking about the potential for forest fires, I remember last year you had this wonderful summit with our friend Christine Camacho Ferrin from the
Mhm.
Forestry Division. Are you going to have one like that again? Because we would love to be involved like we were last year.
Yes, that is something that we can definitely put up in the works, and so stay tuned for that, and we'll see what we can do and see if we can go a little bit bigger and better than last year.
Man, we are upsizing everything when it comes to here on your work week weather forecast. So Brandon, thanks a lot, man. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Take care.
All right, have a good one.